What if I told you the Atlanta Hawks just pulled off one of the sneakiest, smartest off seasons in recent NBA history? While other teams made splashy headlines, the Hawks made power moves in silence, and now they've set themselves up to win both now and later. Let's break it down. Let's start with the heist nobody's talking about. The Hawks traded the 13th overall pick in the draft to the Pelicans and somehow got back the 23rd pick plus an unprotected 2025 first-rounder from either the Pelicans or the Bucks. Whichever team finishes worse. That's not just a good trade. That's grand theft draft capital. Think about it. New Orleans gave up a future pick that could end up in the lottery just to move up 10 spots. What exactly were they thinking? Maybe they saw a franchise savior at number 13. But Atlanta saw something better, a shot at striking gold in next year's draft with absolutely no downside. Now here's where it gets wild. That 2025 pick, Maynard, from either the Bucks or Pelicans, is unprotected. If Giannis tweaks a knee, or if Zion misses another chunk of the season, that pick could land in the top 10. Giannis has missed 15 to 20 games per season since 2020. The Bucks without him, they're toast. And the Pelicans, still betting on the health of Zion, the fit of DeJounte Murray, and a roster that still hasn't figured itself out. Worst case scenario, the Hawks get a mid-first rounder next year and still picked at 23 this year. Best case, they walk away with 2 potential lottery talents and only gave up a single pick to make it happen. Let's not ignore who they grabbed at 23. Asa Newell might not have been a household name on draft night, but this dude fits. Playing alongside Trae Young, Newell gives the Hawks an explosive athlete who can run the floor, protect the rim, and switch defensively. You want a modern big? That's him. Lobs, hustle, energy. He's a nightmare in transition and a high-upside bench piece who can develop quietly behind veterans. No pressure, all reward. Now let's talk about the other major move, Kristaps Porzingis. The Hawks sent out Terrence Mann, Georges Niang, and their 22nd overall pick to get KP. At face value, it seems fair. But dig deeper. They also offloaded Mann's contract, which still had 3 years left. That's flexibility right when you're about to negotiate new deals for Dyson Daniels and eventually Trae Young again. Porzingis is injury-prone. No one's denying that. But if he gives you even 60 games of what he's capable of, that's 20 points, elite rim protection, and 40% from deep. The guy's a unicorn for a reason. And best of all, Atlanta doesn't need him to play 82 games. They've got front court depth. Onyeka Okongwu, Clint Capella, Asa Newell. They can cover the minutes. KP's value is in the ceiling he brings. The timing couldn't be better. The Eastern Conference is as wide open as it's been in years. Boston's top-heavy and dealing with injuries. Milwaukee's aging. The Knicks are in chaos. The Sixers have question marks. The Pacers can't stay healthy. And the Heat, well, they're still looking for offense. If there was ever a time for Atlanta to make a run, it's right now. They've got the mix. Star power with Trae Young, elite defenders around him, big-time shooting, young talent developing fast, and now, Porzingis as a wild card. One of the biggest knocks on Trae Young's game has always been defense, but the Hawks quietly fixed that. Look at this new core. Dyson Daniels, one of the best perimeter defenders in the league. Jalen Johnson, versatile, long, athletic. Zachary Rissaker, a rookie, yes, but already praised for his defense. Porzingis, when healthy, a solid rim protector. This isn't the old Hawks where Trae had to drop 40 just to keep them close. Now he can run the show while being surrounded by players who cover his weaknesses. And when the defense holds up, Trae's offensive genius becomes even more dangerous. Let's not forget Onyeka Okongwu. After finally being handed the starting center job, he flourished. His motor is nonstop. He rebounds, switches onto guards, sets brutal screens, and finishes strong around the rim. Coach Quinn Snyder has already praised his ability to facilitate and hold down the paint even without Trae or Jalen Johnson on the court. Whether he starts next to KP or becomes a trade chip if Porzingis stays healthy, Okongwu's value is climbing fast. And for Atlanta, that's leverage. flexibility, options. A young player entering his prime with real upside. Here's something people are sleeping on. The Hawks' young core is nasty. We already mentioned Okongwu, but Jalen Johnson is another breakout waiting to happen. He's got size, speed, passing instincts, and growing confidence. When he's aggressive, he looks like a point forward who can guard 1 through 4 and still grab double-digit rebounds. Add in Zachary Rissacher, who's getting early buzz for his poise and defensive feel. And suddenly, Atlanta has a trio of young, long, two-way wings. That's gold in today's NBA. Wings that can shoot, defend, and pass. That's how you win deep in the playoffs. And these guys aren't just talented. They're on cheap rookie deals. While other teams are spending max money on aging vets, Atlanta has impact players who haven't even hit their peak. And it's not just the roster, it's the system. Since Quinn Snyder took over, Atlanta's pace, spacing, and ball movement have all improved. Snyder isn't just some clipboard guy. He's a culture builder. He turned Utah into a consistent playoff team with way less talent than this. Now imagine what he can do with Trae Young, Porzingis, Daniels, and a wave of wings who can shoot and defend. You can already see his vision unfolding. Quicker reads, more off-ball action, better floor balance, and a defense that isn't constantly in panic mode. This is a system where everyone can shine, and the star doesn't have to do everything. And here's where it gets scary. The Hawks aren't done. They've kept their options open, and they're stacked with assets. That unprotected 2025 pick, that could headline a trade for another star. Okongwu? If KP stays healthy, he becomes a prime trade chip. They're no longer boxed in by bad contracts or one-dimensional players. Atlanta can pivot any direction, build slow with their youth, go all in if a star becomes available, or double down on this roster if it clicks. They're not locked into anything, and that's rare in today's NBA. Let's address the elephant in the room, the Trae Young trade rumors. Some fans think Atlanta's future lies in moving him. But here's the truth. Not yet. The Hawks have finally built the kind of team that can unlock Trae's full potential. Defenders around him, shooters, secondary playmakers, and rim protection. This is the first time in years he doesn't have to carry a broken roster. Give him one full season with a healthy KP, breakout candidates around him, and a smart coach like Snyder, and then see where things stand. If it works, you've got a title-contending team with a 25-year-old superstar. If not, his value is still sky-high, and you pivot next summer. Let's give credit where it's due. Atlanta's front office didn't panic. They didn't overspend. They made high-upside bets without gutting their future. They turned one pick into two, offloaded a long contract, picked up a versatile big man, and drafted players who fit their system. Every move they made this offseason had purpose. No flashy nonsense, just calculated, future-proof strategy. And that's how you finesse the NBA. You don't need the loudest moves, you need the smartest ones. So what now? With the East wide open, Atlanta could easily be a 50-win team this year if health breaks their way. Trae Young could have a career season with less defensive pressure. Porzingis could be the X factor that unlocks their offense. And their young guys? They're only getting better with every game. Nobody's calling them title favorites. And that's perfect. The Hawks don't need the spotlight. They just need wins. And they're built to get them, now and in the future. While teams like the Lakers and Warriors made headlines in the Knicks and Heat battle drama, the Hawks quietly assembled a roster that makes sense. They've added depth. They've upgraded defense. They kept their cap flexible. And they landed what might end up being one of the most valuable picks in the 2025 draft, all while still being competitive in the present. If you're an Atlanta fan, you should be hyped. If you're an NBA fan, keep your eyes on them, because the Hawks aren't just winning the offseason. They might be setting up the NBA's next big problem. If you're still here, you're officially part of the Basketball Brain Trust. Let me know in the comments. Are the Hawks being underrated? Or are they still one move away? Drop a like if you're rooting for Trae to bounce back big, and don't forget to subscribe for more breakdowns like this. We've got plenty more cooking.